T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Look, I'm not going to bullshit you. Zack Snyder's Justice League trilogy restored my faith in cinema. You honestly need to put the entire trajectory of the industry into account to comprehend how the hell we got here. The Marvel movies do not take cinema seriously, and the lunacy of studios like Warner Brothers emulating them in hopes of that lightning in a bottle effect surfacing twice is on the nutty side of things. Zack was doing something special and unique for a genre that is long past the expiration date. Superhero movies are in a state of oversaturation. The best example for comparison is what happened with Westerns. Zack gave us a breath of fresh air, while Warner's believes the key to success to Buffoni revolve around keeping the audience laughing. Forcing every genre into a comedy template is a terminal cancer to the movie industry. The room to grow and make a change for the sake of good storytelling is on the worst decline in cinema history. And the sad truth is, this isn't likely to change anytime soon. I think there will always be theatrical because people want to experience this thing together. But at the same time, the theaters have to step up to make them places where people will want to go and enjoy themselves or want to go and see something that moves them. You know what moves me? This innovative and wonderful YouTube show called I Don't Get It, featuring APass and ZodWriter. These two respectful individuals truly honor and value film as an eternal art form. They don't settle for Marvel's amusement park attractions, cosplaying as real movies. Sending APass and ZodWriter super chats is helping to cultivate their creativity, and you faithful viewers are very much loved and appreciated. I'm Martin Scorsese, and I most definitely get it.
Please donate to the GoFundMe Mikey Sutton Memorial if you can. Thank you.
Welcome to tonight's episode of I Don't Get It. I'm ZodWriter, and this is the host of the show, APass. You guys, we are here for the second week in a row because we've got a lot to talk about tonight, don't we, APass?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, everybody in the chat.
We've got a full chat here tonight.
Happy to see it. Thank you, Marty Scorsese, for your endorsement and your astute analysis on the decline of cinema and what can save it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. It's huge. It's huge that Martin Scorsese is out there speaking out. So I guess that's our first topic, since Martin Scorsese is the man on the thumbnail, and he has been making a lot of comments lately. He's been making the rounds. He was interviewed in, I believe it was GQ, and they, and he said a lot of things. And I think, and then of course there was the little leak that came out that said that he basically praised Zack Snyder, and people are saying, well, that was from Zod, that was from Cinephiles, so that was fake, that was from a parody account. But that's what the world wants you to think. You have to understand these things. There's some stuff to this. There's some things to this. Martin Scorsese knows good cinema, okay?
Oh, the man is like,
and you don't think he's aware of Zack Snyder's Justice League? You don't think he's aware of what's going on in cinema today? I
no.
don't get it.
he's always had his eyes on what's going on in cinema, obviously, and saving TCM from David Zaslav's like stupidity as well, along with Steven Spielberg and I think Paul Thomas Anderson as well, preserving cinema history. So of course he would be aware of something that's different from your, theme park superhero film that doesn't have any substance whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he clearly is tired of the Marvel formula.
As we all are. I think everybody can agree with that.
Oh wow, we're already getting requests. Bat Dan's Thought says, ZodWriter, can you play the clip again? YouTube ads made me miss part of it. Yeah, we will play it again in a little bit. We always play the opening clips on the show multiple times, so we will get to it again today.
Yes.
But what do you think? The GQ article, Scorsese went into a lot of detail about the decline of cinema, as you mentioned, and it's one of those things where, I think if anybody knows what they're talking about and knows what's good for cinema and what works, it's Martin Scorsese. Now, people are. I saw a couple of YouTube videos that kind of irritated me last week from people. They had Scorsese in the thumbnail, and one of them said, Scorsese is really starting to piss me off. And then they would go into details of what, because these people they call themselves film fans. They act like they know cinema, like they like movies, but the only movies they watch are these superhero films.
And I think that's cinema. That's the that's the asinine thing. It's like there was other films before, Kevin Feige saturated the market. Actual good films, not like cookie cutter stuff, theme park stuff. So you need to educate yourselves, people that think that Marvel is cinema.
Well, it's like this, and I kind of look at it this way, where, Marvel, I feel like, went as far as they could go with the 2 Infinity War movies and Endgame. Those 3 movies, to me, wrapped it up. I
agree.
I'm at the point where I kind of question how you can keep going. It's like every movie after Infinity War, with the exception of the most recent Spider-Man movie, because that was nostalgia bait. With the exception of that movie, none of the other Marvel movies, in my opinion, have lived up to what came before. And I think it's a very similar situation with what happened with Zack Snyder, where, you got Batman v Superman, you started with Man of Steel, you got Batman v Superman. We had to fight for it, but we eventually got Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I just feel like nothing after Zack Snyder's Justice League has been good. Nothing has lived up to it. Nothing has been noteworthy, and we've all had to settle for extreme levels of mediocrity.
Yes.
Which I don't understand. Like, if you're gonna, how do you leave? And I always use this example when people come to us and say, well, the Snyderverse is dead, you guys should move on. There's no need for this. But here's the thing, if Infinity War was to end, they were to end on that cliffhanger after Infinity War, after all of the superheroes disappeared, and then Marvel just came out and said, you know what, we're going to reboot the whole thing. We're going to recast all the main characters. We're only going to keep Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. We're going to keep basically everybody that people don't like. We're going to keep Taika Waititi as the director. We're keeping Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. We're going to recast We're gonna recast Iron Man, Tony Stark. We're gonna get a new guy, a cocky young actor. We're gonna get Robert Pattinson to come in and play Iron Man. We're gonna get Robert Pattinson to replace Robert Downey Jr. We've got
that should have happened. That should have happened instead of Pattinson.
It's like, what do they think the outcry would have been there? If you want to look at Marvel as a template, the reason why Marvel is still successful to this day is because they had so many, they had good movies. They built their brand up, and now all of their movies are cookie cutter. They've gotten into a bit of a rut where they're, just making content where there's nothing really unique about it. It all just kind of, gestates. And I don't, and I like I said, I haven't been a fan. I feel like it's the same scenario of what's going on with DC, where they truly are emulating each other now, where it's all mediocrity and comedy, which is why I agree with Martin Scorsese completely.
Yeah. I mean, I never was a fan of Marvel, to be honest. Like the first Iron Man movie, saw it, fell asleep. Not even kidding you.
Oh God, I love it that you fell asleep. I have I'm a bit of a, when it comes to, the Iron Man movies. I know this might be a bit of a hot take, but my favorite Iron Man movie is actually the third one. I like the third one with the fake Mandarin and the where he kind of had like a little like Robin type sidekick helping him out. It was kind of, to me, that was the best. That's one of my favorite MCU movies, that third Iron Man movie. And I know a lot of people, bagged pretty hard on the third Iron Man movie, but I don't know. But like you, I'm not really a fan of the MCU. It's hard for me to, especially now, to look at where they were at with the Russo brothers, and now how they've gone on a complete decline, where none of their movies have lived up to it. None of their movies have been great. It seems like nobody has a real vision. And again, this is just opinion. I'm not going at anybody who loves these movies and who thinks these movies are the greatest movies in the world. That's fine. That's what you believe, but I'm just giving my opinion. And I would really like to see both Marvel and DC kind of get back to form. Bring back the people that brought you the big movies. So bring back the Russo brothers for Marvel, bring back Zack Snyder for DC. But we know we know what that's all about. So chances are you probably won't see that on either side. And it's pretty sad, especially when we look at where Marvel and DC are now as a whole.
Or how about this? Have Marvel have a decline and have DC have like an incline.
Yeah. We need that. That would be a change. That would be a change to give us some kind of a switch. Build it up, make it, give us something different, for a change. And we don't need theme park films. That's the other thing. And that's why I love it. Scorsese's been getting flack ever since he used theme park to describe Marvel, and I love it.
I love it, and it's accurate, and he also pissed off none other than Colonel Sanders when he said it.
Yeah, well, because Colonel Sanders knows he doesn't have any talent. That's the thing.
He knows that.
Colonel Sanders has no talent whatsoever. I mean, even his chicken is on the decline. So we really can't say too much there. It's almost like, if your stuff is bad, your stuff is bad. I mean,
Right.
you know, I mean,
Move on, buddy. Like, like I don't know. I mean, it's obvious what's going on with him in DC, and it from the get go. So, but
yeah. I mean, we're looking at, there was an article that came out where DC, well, the Warner Brothers executives actually came out and said that they regret releasing Zack Snyder's Justice League. And
we've known this, though.
And the only reason, and here's the thing, guys, they don't regret it because it didn't make them money. They don't regret it because it was, it wasn't a success. It was a success. That's why they regret it. They regret it because it was a success. So much of a success that they can't move on with their other projects because we won't let them. Every time they turn around, they're being reminded, Zack Snyder, restore the Snyderverse, sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix, the Snyderverse strikes back, Snyderverse. They're constantly being reminded of the Snyderverse in everything that they do. And most companies would see that as fan demand, as an audience that's hungry for more, that's willing to pay for more product, and they would see that as a green light to, wow, people really want more of this. We should really capitalize on this. Especially how excited everybody was when Henry Cavill came out and announced that he was back as Superman. You cannot buy that kind of hype. James Gunn doesn't have the ability to get that kind of hype, no matter what he does. Nobody cares about Creature Commandos. And honestly, I have to say, nobody cares about Superman Legacy. There is no hype whatsoever. And APass, isn't it funny how now they're releasing all these pictures of Corn Sweat, and Corn Sweat is bulking up, and all of the pictures, I'm noticing so many captions now, because I'm seeing this all over the internet, where people are saying, oh, I thought that was Henry Cavill. They know what they're doing. They are obsessed. They want Henry Cavill, but they don't want Henry Cavill. That's what this is.
Right. They want Snyder, but they don't want Snyder. They want that. It goes back to like whenever the Batman came out and that quote was released saying that Reeves is trying to out Nolan. It's like WB has gone from Nolan and Snyder to out Nolan and out Snyder. It's like it's asinine, and it's just like, and it goes back to what we were saying all along, like on that stream months ago when before Corn Sweat was even announced, and we were like, it's gonna be him because he's literally Cavill light.
100%. He's a Cavill clone, and we were right.
Yeah,
we were 100% right. And and people, we don't know what we're talking about. I think we even called that, if I'm not mistaken, that stream the Corn Sweat Conspiracy, because I guarantee you that we knew for a fact it was him, and then we kept making jokes about this Spanish soccer player that also looked a little bit like Henry Cavill that was in the running. So it was kind of funny, because you have everybody that they were looking at that were like the top contenders were all basically Henry Cavill like actors in terms of how they looked. And then the ones that looked completely different didn't really have a chance, because we know that the studio wants to remind people of Henry Cavill without having to pay Henry Cavill.
Yeah, that's their goal. It's like, oh, speaking of Cavill, did you see the Argyle trailer?
Yes, I did, and I'm excited about it. It's almost like Henry Cavill finally getting a chance to play a James Bond-ish kind of role in a franchise all his own. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we know Man from U.N.C.L.E. didn't work out for him for obvious
And
reasons.
I liked that movie,
And
though,
I
I
thought
gotta
that was a
say.
good movie, but unfortunately, there's other
Factors.
external and internal factors that are impacting that, which is probably why we'll never get another movie in that continuity. But that could have been a good vehicle if not for those other things. And then, but Argyle actually looks like it could be set up to be a franchise that Henry Cavill can carry. A fictional James Bond-ish kind of character that Cavill was born to play, in addition to Superman.
Agreed.
So I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait. Oh yeah, the hair was kind of ridiculous, but again, it's Henry Cavill, and and we have hope that we're going to, based on some of the things that the late great Mikey Sutton told us, that Henry Cavill, there will be a role for Henry Cavill in
Rebel Moon,
in one of the Rebel Moon sequels. So that's going to be huge.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. And even though Matthew Vaughn has said some stupid things about Superman, the take Zack had, I am looking forward to Argyle strictly because of Cavill. And the irony that John Cena is in that movie too. I'm like, why? God, like the guy can't act. Like, what are we doing here?
Somebody had to say it. I'm glad that you did, APass, because he is like one of the worst actors to come out of the WWE. I mean, he's a nice guy, I got a chance to meet him once at some kind of an event somewhere in the city a few years back. I got to meet him. I actually bumped into him in the bathroom.
Interesting.
It was pretty funny, but I mean, I think he's a nice guy, and I think he was, a talented performer as far as wrestling goes. But as an actor, he's just lacking. It's either, and I don't know, APass, if it's because he can't act or if it's because they keep giving him goofy, stupid roles to play. I mean, even his role in the Fast and the Furious franchise was stupid. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm trying to, you know what? To be honest, though, he was pretty good in that movie, The Marine, that he was in, that came out several years ago. There was a movie called The Marine, and it was starring him. I think it was Cena's first film, and it was an actual serious role, and it was pretty good. I almost completely forgot about that movie because he's been in so much garbage ever since. But that was a good movie, and I think if he would have kept doing movies like that, honing his craft, kind of like, Dave Bautista, he's kind of,
oh my God,
Dave Bautista is a very versatile actor, and he came from the WWE, and a lot of these wrestlers turn actors, they just need to get the right material, and then you can see glimpses of quality in their performances, and that's the thing. But we don't, again, we're not getting that now. We know we're getting Cena's getting top billing in all of these movies and stuff, and he's just hamming it up in every movie. He's not really, he doesn't have to act, he doesn't really have to do anything, he just has to act like a moron because he's working under people like James Gunn, and that's the that's the double-edged sword of it. Like Zachary Levi, that guy. Okay, he had some promise when he came in as an actor, and then he got full of himself, and then started working with goofy directors, and essentially, has ruined any credibility that he had, as far as I'm concerned, as an actor. I don't want to see him in anything. He's horrible to me as far as I'm concerned. I would rather they digitally dig up a dead actor than use Zachary Levi.
But like, yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And coming after us as a fandom too, just put the nail in the coffin for me in terms of like watching him in anything. Um, Not that I was even a fan to begin with, though. I was just kind of like, ah, he's there, like if he's in something, whatever. But him like deliberately doing what he has done since really like the release of Snyder Cut, like making fun of that whole thing, and then us not supporting his movies. It's like, dude, like, no, mediocre garbage. Sorry, not supporting that, and that's not up my alley. And especially when you come out and attack the very customers that you should be, um,
Well, he
wanting
was
to
one
go
of the
see a movie.
actors. He was one of the actors who said that the Snyder Cut would never come out. He was one of
Yeah,
those. So again, I'd love to go to like a fan convention or a fandom or something someday and see him walk. And I'd like to walk around with my steelbook copy of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then I'll walk
yes.
up to him. I'll walk up to him and I'll be like, "Oh, Zach, it's so good to see you. Will you do me a favor and sign my copy of Zack Snyder's Justice League?" Like that would be
Do it. Do it.
a thrill for me. That's something I would love to do. See, when we get big, really big APass, you and I have a table at Comic-Con for I Don't Get It, we'll
There
have
you
the
go.
opportunity to do something like that. That'll work.
And
Bat-Dad
we'll
Stuff
share
says we'll move on when Snyderverse gets its end game.
facts, Batman, facts. And people can argue that Zack Snyder's Justice League was that all they want. It wasn't. I mean, like, as much as Zack Snyder's Justice League is like my favorite DC film of all time, it's like he was building up to part like Justice League Part 3, where we see the epic battle between the League, the world becomes the Justice League, and the forces of Apocalypse. Like, what real DC fan does not want to see that? I'm just saying. I don't get it. If you consider yourself to be a DC fan and you do not want to see that, I mean, like, you're not a real DC fan then. You're not. You're just a Marvel fan cosplaying as a DC fan. In my opinion.
We see a lot of that today. In
Oh,
fact,
we
we see
do.
a lot of people cosplaying as fans who don't know nothing about any of these projects,
Mm-mm.
arguing and going at people that are real fans, which I'll never understand.
Oh,
It's like
I'll
I
never
don't
get
I
it
don't want
either.
to talk about anything I don't know anything about. I mean,
Me
that's
either. Zod, it's like me going into a Kevin Feige like like Twitter like fan account and just talking shit about Kevin Feige. I don't care enough to do that. Like, I don't care. And the fact that we get people that are like that, um, like, I swear every tweet that I do relating to Snyderverse stuff, it's constantly being attacked by the same individuals that claim to be real DC fans, and meanwhile their like profile picture is like, I don't know, Peacemaker or or somebody from the Suicide Squad. It's like, no, like,
right. Their burner accounts or their James Gunn
uh,
fans. They're one of James Gunn's 60 fans online that doesn't do anything all day but troll people who don't like James Gunn. That's their life
mhm.
24/7. We've got Brogu in the chat. Hello, everyone. Brogu is here. What's
Grogu.
up, Brogu? Man, I'm so glad to see Brogu here. It's always a pleasure to have you here, man. Yeah,
Agreed.
it's funny to me though. They act as though they're fans, but they're really not fans
No.
of anything. It's like the activists who pretend like they're fans of something, and all they're
Mhm.
doing is pushing an agenda. I know. Shout out to Sox Bulletins and Batdan today for their stream they did today talking about Captain Marvel, which I thought was
God
wonderful. They
bless.
both they both kind of ranted about how much they disliked that movie, and and it was wonderful to see, especially because Sox is a huge Marvel fan.
Yeah.
So to see him going off about a Marvel movie like that was a nice change. And I actually, Bat-Dan had asked me to ask you during that stream what you thought of Captain Marvel, what you thought of Brie Larson's performance, and what you think of Brie Larson as an actress.
Okay. Let me just say off the bat, didn't see the movie. Didn't care enough to see it. I am not a Marvel fan really. Unless it had to do with, like, I don't know, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies and like some of the X-Men movies, like Days of Future Past. Like, I love that movie. And I don't know, like, Brie Larson is like the definition of someone, and I was a fan. I saw her in Room, which was the movie she won an Oscar for, and I thought she was amazing in that movie. Like, her performance was really, like, stellar. And then as soon as she, like, became mainstream, which seems to be happening to a lot of actors and actresses, once they win an Oscar, they just turn into total stuck up, talk down to people that, you know, could be supporting them, but they choose to talk down to them because of politics or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can really say, like, because I didn't see the movie, I can't really give an opinion other than just what I just said, like my honesty about that, not seeing it and everything. But
And that's what you'll always get. That's what you'll always get from this show. You'll always get honesty from us, which is what makes this stream so must see, because we tell it how we see it. We try to be as truthful as possible, and a lot of times we're just giving our opinions. Okay, we're not trying to offend you or whatever, but it's not about feelings, per se, but it is about opinions and it is about facts. So I don't, I'm at the point where I don't apologize for anything. It is what it is, and that's how it's always going to be. So, whatever.
Whatever.
Corn Sweat can't even promote Legacy. Yeah. I wonder if we'll see Corn Sweat on the picket line wearing his new Superman pajamas.
Could you imagine that? And I'm just like picketing with his test suit. I'm dead just thinking about it. Like, no one cares, dude. No one cares. Like,
Gallagher guy 88, you are onto something there. It's probably something to do with the money to get Cavill. A new Superman would be cheaper. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're going basically. David Corn Sweat is a Walmart, like those peasant version arcade 1-ups that you see at Walmart that have that are just like are miniature versions. They don't have any risers or light up marquees or anything. They're just very, very basic. That's what Corn Sweat is. He's the basic Henry Cavill. He's a clone of Cavill, but you don't get all the features with him that you do with Cavill, which is the ability to act and portray Superman seriously and to take the character seriously. Because if Corn Sweat is working with Gunn, I kind of feel bad for Corn Sweat because he does have the look. Okay, he looks enough like Henry Cavill where I believe he can play Superman, but the problem is he's playing Superman under a guy that doesn't respect Superman.
Right.
James Gunn clearly doesn't respect Superman. And you can go back and you can look at all the evidence to show that he doesn't care about Superman as a character. He doesn't care. He said a lot of crap about Batman too. James Gunn
Oh,
is
yeah.
not the guy to be running DC. I mean, it's
No.
fine if he wants to make his Suicide Squad or his Marvel movies or whatever, but he's not a DC. He should not be in control creatively at DC Studios. And this is all we've been trying to say. All our issues with James Gunn aside, that's the bottom line. That's the truth about this man as a creative. He shouldn't be
Yeah.
anywhere near the big DC superheroes, and he should not be in charge of the new DC continuity. And we're going to get into that because there was something that came out this week that was very, very disturbing to me. And I don't know, APass, if you heard about this, but allegedly how the transition from the DCEU as we know it now and the DCU that James Gunn is spearheading is going to be explained is through the character of Bat-Mite during Peacemaker Season 2. What Peacemaker Season 2 is allegedly going to do is it's going to have Bat-Mite breaking the fourth wall and essentially explaining some things that happened that is the reason why the DCEU ended and the DCU is beginning, and why there are several characters, mainly the characters, well, only the characters that James Gunn himself was directly involved with, coming back for the DCU, while none of the major characters that we all care about from the Snyderverse and such are coming back for the DCU. And he's going to use Bat-Mite. The fact that he's even using Bat-Mite as a character at all should tell everybody everything that they need to know. You right then and there, all your credibility is gone because Bat-Mite is how you're going to tie this all together. You're going to basically have Bat-Mite come out, run his mouth a mile a minute, and explain what's happened, and that's it. When you could have used the Flash movie as a way to transition from the DCEU to the DCU. I swear to God, the more I hear about and the more I see about what this Flash movie was supposed to be, the more angry I get. It's like a Justice League 2017 all over again.
Which is what we said during our review.
And people don't even realize it. People don't even realize it.
Yeah.
People are so blind. Well, Zod, I enjoyed the movie. The movie was good. Well, okay, that's your opinion. That's fine. Nobody's mad at you because you like the movie, but you have to understand the movie should have been a masterpiece. There were things in this movie that could have very easily explained the changes between the DCEU and the DCU and merged together. You literally could have had Barry Allen ending up in the new DCU, and you could have transitioned it that way. And you could have given everybody in the DCEU their proper send-off. And you could have had Ben Affleck lost in time or lost in the nightmare world or whatever. If you're not going back to the DCEU, then what was the harm? What was the harm in giving the DCEU a proper send-off if you're not planning on going back there anyway? And why make it confusing to your audience? And now you're going to make people watch that stupid Peacemaker show just so that they can see how you're going to transition from one DC universe to the next. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It's like, again, whenever I read, was it last week or was it this week? I forget. On Twitter, whenever Gunn was like, I'm writing Peacemaker Season 2 right now. And it's like, we're seriously getting more Peacemaker whenever we were supposed to be getting Man of Steel 2. Like, there's no comparison there. Like, there's none whatsoever. Like, it's just, and for anyone to say that Gunn oh, he respects DC. No, he doesn't. Everything that he's done in DC has just proven his disrespect towards the brand and everything else, in my opinion. Like, he could be a fan of the comics all he wants. Like, it's like your actions speak otherwise. So,
Yeah, I don't get it. And I'm not, it's not that, and like I said, for me, it's not that the Flash is that bad of a movie. It's
it's
that
not
it
that bad,
shouldn't have
no.
been. It's that it shouldn't have been a situation where the movie was even considered anything less than great. I think it's
Yeah.
like you and I are guilty, APass, because we had higher standards. We have higher expectations for the Flash. We didn't want to just be sitting here laughing and watching it and taking everything as a joke. And no, we wanted to see a movie with a proper connection to how you're going to close off the DCEU. You can't
Yeah.
you can't do that and leave it the way that you did, because like I said in the review videos that we did, now you have Barry Allen stuck in the Clooney verse or a variant of the Clooney verse. So
Yeah.
if you're James Gunn, essentially that's your Batman. George Clooney is your Batman moving forward. You made your bed, you lie in it. He's your Batman. Unless he dies before you start your DCU, George Clooney is your Batman. I'm sorry. I don't get it. You can't do that. You would have been better off making it an ambiguous ending where we didn't see who Batman was when he got out of the car, or Bruce Wayne. You would have been much better off doing it that way, because you're essentially, now you've kind of backed us into a corner. And if all you're going to give us is Bat-Mite,
Yeah. I mean,
can't be taken seriously. I mean, it's
absolutely not.
Showcast says APass called it cookie cutter. I call it cookie mush. Eating it by using a straw. Yeah.
There you go. That's even better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, and I mean, and there's people to this day defending this Flash movie like it's a great movie. Like we should just accept it and be happy with what we got. And maybe we could if this wasn't the end, right?
Yeah.
Because allegedly Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom is not going to have any ties to anything. It's just going to be like a standalone story if what the reports are saying are true. So if it's a standalone story, then what do we have, what do we have to look forward to? Well, I guess we're going to have to watch Peacemaker to get some sort of exposition as to what to expect for DC, the DCU moving forward. And that just doesn't cut it with me. I don't care. I have no interest in anything that Gunn is doing moving forward. I'm not invested at all. And you and I have said this multiple times before, but the only path forward for DC is sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. That's the only path forward.
Yeah.
I mean, and if and people say, well, it doesn't, well, Zod, it doesn't have to be Netflix. Okay. It could be some other third party. It doesn't have to be Netflix. You're absolutely right. But the point is, okay, the sentiment is there, meaning that the Snyderverse needs to go somewhere else.
Agreed.
And I love all the people online lately that have been coming at us all very hard about how, oh, well, that's never going to happen because it'll cost. That old argument that came up months and months ago, oh, it'll cost too much to license out the characters. And I love that. I love that argument because it's so stupid. We've debunked it so many times. And how many times do we have to tell these people? There's DC owned properties popping up on all these different streaming services. purely DC licensed product.
But that's how you know that they ran out of ammo if they keep going back to that same old argument, because they see what's happening. They can't deny that, but they can't give us credit either. So
yeah, it doesn't
facts, Batman.
it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
We're sitting here, giving you an actual viable alternative when we say sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. We're not saying this because there's nothing behind it. We're saying it because there is momentum behind it. There has been talks behind the scenes. There are things going on. It may or may not happen, but the reality is, if it does happen, what are all these people going to say then? What's going to be the excuse? How are you going to move the goalpost when you see Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 is coming to Netflix? What are you going to do then? What's going to be the answer? And I find it funny, APass, because it's all the same people that used to tell us, oh, yeah, the Snyder Cut will never happen. It'll never come out. It's a pipe dream. You guys don't know what you're talking about. There is no Snyder Cut.
Business works.
They don't know how business works. Yeah, the movie industry. Yeah.
It's like, you know what? They can continue being the way that they are, because clearly nothing's going to change that.
Bat Dan's thoughts. Technically, Levi, whatever you call his name, Levi. Don't worry, you're gonna hear from him from I Don't Get It. I just didn't have time this week to work on him, but I got him. He's coming. Said the Snyder Cut didn't exist, and for those who just tuned in, I know Bat Dan, you asked if we could play the Scorsese intro again. So you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and play that again for those that have come in, because we got a substantial amount more of you in here now than we did when we first started the stream. So here, we'll give you guys the intro one more time here.
Look, I'm not going to bullshit you. Zack Snyder's Justice League trilogy restored my faith in cinema. You honestly need to put the entire trajectory of the industry into account to comprehend how the hell we got here. The Marvel movies do not take cinema seriously, and the lunacy of studios like Warner Brothers emulating them in hopes of that lightning in a bottle effect surfacing twice is on the nutty side of things. Zack was doing something special and unique for a genre that is long past the expiration date. Superhero movies are in a state of oversaturation. The best example for comparison is what happened with Westerns. Zack gave us a breath of fresh air, while Warner's believes the key to success to buffoonly revolve around keeping the audience laughing. Forcing every genre into a comedy template is a terminal cancer to the movie industry. The room to grow and make a change for the sake of good storytelling is on the worst decline in cinema history. And the sad truth is, this isn't likely to change anytime soon. I think there will always be theatrical, because people want to experience this thing together. But at the same time, the theaters have to step up to make them places where people will want to go and enjoy themselves, or want to go and see something that moves them. You know what moves me? This innovative and wonderful YouTube show called I Don't Get It, featuring APass and ZodWriter. These two respectful individuals truly honor and value film as an eternal art form. They don't settle for Marvel's amusement park attractions, cosplaying as real movies. Sending APass and ZodWriter super chats is helping to cultivate their creativity, and you faithful viewers are very much loved and appreciated. I'm Martin Scorsese, and I most definitely get it.
So there you go. I mean, and that was a bigger intro than I think we've had in previous weeks, because I think last week we had David Lynch and it was a smaller intro. But for Scorsese, we had to do something special because he's been talking a lot of great sense. Shout out to Leon of the New Geeks in the chat, which once again, he's been saying what we've all been saying all this time. sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. I very much believe in this cause.
Same.
And I know that it's going to happen. If there is anything that's going to move the needle for us as the Snyderverse faithful, it is these two hashtags, this movement that we've been all pushing and hoping and putting our faith in, faith, Alfred, faith. This is all what it's about. And again, it's incredible stuff, hashtag the Mikey verse, Sil Nation. We're all fighting the same battle here. We all want the Snyderverse to continue and to be finished out. And I don't even think we're asking for too much. I mean, my God, if we could just get Zack to finish out his arc, that would be enough. Anything else would be icing on the cake, including the Batfleck movie or Man of Steel 2, whatever. But we need Zack to finish his arc. We need to get those last two Justice League movies, especially with what James Gunn's doing, which is essentially making a mockery of DC.
Yeah.
And his fans are just eating it up.
Of course.
They're eating it up like it's chocolate cake because they know that they are not going to support any of it, and they just love it because they're like him. They're just like James Gunn, and they love James Gunn's attitude, and they love the way James Gunn, basically pisses all over the fandom. They love that. They're very supportive of that, and that is why all 60 of them come out in full force on social media to attack us. There's 60 of them. There's basically 60 real James Gunn fans, and then 10,000 bots.
That sounds about right.
That's basically what it all boils down to. It's sort of that's basically the ratio that you're dealing with here. I mean, come on here. I mean, this is like, we know that he doesn't, and this is how we know he doesn't have any real fans, because isn't it funny, APass, how every single account that James Gunn responds to is always some burner account with 1 or 2 followers or no followers, and it's following 20 people, and it was created in like July, and it was it's like, what are you doing? I wouldn't be surprised if it's James Gunn. I wouldn't be surprised if it's James himself. And that would say even more about him, that he's talking to himself. He's basically creating these burners himself that he can talk to and communicate with. Yeah. And to me, that says a lot about the level of his narcissism.
Yeah.
And how he just has to, it's crazy.
He has to talk to himself. He has to build himself up. He has to hype himself up. And then, he lives for this. Remember, he admitted that during a press conference for DC Studios. Like, I can't.
Yeah. It's and Bat Dan's thought says thanks because I guess you answered his question with regards to Brie Larson and Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And that's where, I think about, when I think about the MCU, it's not that the MCU doesn't have potential to be good again. It's not that like there's not stories out there that the MCU could use to propel themselves. I mean, I think it would be great if they did a sequel to the Tobey Maguire. They did a Spider-Man 3. I think it would be, or 4, Spider-Man 4.
Spider-Man 4.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4. And then they could do a Spider-Man 3 for Garfield if they wanted to. But why not? You might as well. The audience is there for it. They would go see those films, and those films would probably make you more money if you're Marvel than anything that you've done since the last Spider-Man movie. This is the thing. They have a cash cow with Spider-Man. I mean, the Into the Spider-Verse movies prove that. They're animated movies and they make a ton of money, right?
They're so good. So
Yeah,
good.
and they're good movies too. Nobody
Yeah.
can say that they're not. They're very good. They're very well animated. They tell very good stories. I don't see a problem with it. And it's the thing with, with DC. You know that the audience is hungry for more Snyder. So why not just let Snyder finish what he started, and then you can reboot and move on. And we say this a lot. We say this over and over again. And because we know it makes business sense. It's not just what we want as fans. It's that there's more of us out there than there are the 60 James Gunn fans.
That's what they're scared of too. They know that there's way more than, like, we're not just bots.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
they know that.
we're not bots, and I love how they always try to paint us as bots. And I mean, you get flack, APass, for every single post that you put out about Henry Cavill as Superman, about Zack Snyder's Justice League, about anything. I would say about the only thing, although I got flack when I posted something about Rebel Moon a couple weeks ago, and I got some flack
You did.
from it. And
Yeah,
it was
you did.
ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, why are you coming at me about Rebel Moon? Oh, because I said that Rebel Moon was going to change the sci-fi genre and that it was going to make, both DC and Star Wars irrelevant.
Yeah.
And that upset people.
Oh, of course.
But it's because it's the truth.
It is.
It's the truth. Zack is going to make DC. In my opinion, he already has. Because everything I've seen for Rebel Moon gets me hyped.
Oh my
So
god.
hyped. I don't even need just seeing concept art for Rebel Moon gets me hyped. I'm not even going to talk about, the trailer. It's like when you have that, and then you have the mediocrity that we continue to get through Star Wars. We continue to get through DC. We continue to get through Marvel.
Yeah.
What do you have to look forward to? You have Zack Snyder's original IPs. And he's a genius. He's always been ahead of his time. He always will be ahead of his time. And this is why we're all behind him. This is why he has such a following, because not only is he a visionary director whose vision carries across multiple genres, multi-layered with film, but he's a hell of a guy too, and we all know it because we've all seen the way he interacts with the fans. He's a good human being. We see the way that he handles himself. We see the way that he goes for charity and all the things that he does. Zack is just an all-around great human being. So that's how you build a following like that.
I agree. And he puts his money where his mouth is as well. Because, like, you see a lot of, like, Hollywood people, they'll, like, they'll say that they'll do stuff for charity and all that. But, like, Zack is, like, in the thick of it, when it comes to that stuff. He whenever he's really passionate and behind something, it. It's not just, like, an obligation. Like, where you can feel that with other people, it's, like, an obligation. But, like, with him, it's just genuine. And, and then, like, reading, what was that? Like, I think it was Total Film released, was it an article? Saying about the director's cut.
Yes, about the director's cut of Rebel Moon being more than just deleted, a collection of deleted scenes put back in, but an actual independent cut of the initial release version that we're going to see. Which is true about all of Zack's movies. I'll never understand the people that tell me, Zod, Zack Snyder's Justice League wasn't really all that much different from the theatrical version that we got. It was basically the same story. The theatrical version just made it a little bit shorter and streamlined it a little bit so you didn't have to sit through the 4 hours. And I'm I'm like, it's a different movie. It's night and day
Completely.
different. What are you
Completely.
talking about? It's a night and day difference. And
Yes.
it's the same movie. It's just,
And same
longer.
with BVS, the Ultimate Edition, and the theatrical cut. I mean, I think Justice League, obviously, it's like its own like category of night and day. But like BVS as well, it's just like they're not just deleted scenes. Like it's like a whole nother layer. Speaking of BVS, can I show you guys my shirt that I got back in like 2015? I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me put it towards the light.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Yep.
Yeah. Got that back in, I want to say like 2015, early 2016. And like it's just like, even then, like you could feel it was different. Like his way of telling a story in the superhero genre was different. So
Corn Sweat playing Gunn Superman may as well be dressed up in a King's Court jester outfit instead of wearing an S on his chest.
Agreed.
Like I said, I kind of feel bad for Corn Sweat because I think, in the future, he could be a guy. He's young enough. Well, I don't know if I'm going to say young enough because he's by the time Legacy actually starts filming, Corn Sweat will be older than Henry Cavill was when he played Superman in Man of Steel.
Yeah. He's not. There's not that big of an age difference between him and Henry. Not at all.
No, I know. And how many times have you and I said they could be brothers? They could be related. It's insane. And all the comparisons with the name brand cereal and then the cheap cereal and the PlayStation 5 and the knockoff Chinese PlayStation, all the different like comparisons I found to be unbelievable.
Hilarious. Very hilarious.
And Leroy Kong says Henry Cavill will forever be my Superman. Gotta agree with you, man. Gotta agree with you. And when I was a kid, there was only Christopher Reeve. And as much as I love Christopher Reeve, and I love that version of Superman as a child, but as a grown adult, Henry Cavill redefined the character for me. And now I have no desire to see anybody else in the role.
Agreed.
And with that being said, I could see Corn Sweat playing a future version of Superman because he does have that template. However, he's going to be playing it under Gunn. So he might as well. I don't know. That's my problem. That's why I feel bad for him. I mean, if it was any other director coming in and saying, "Hey, I want to read," I would even feel better about it if it was Taika Waititi directing. And you all know how much I hate Taika Waititi, but I would prefer Taika Waititi to James Gunn.
Oh my God, that's like a hard one for me, Zod. I don't know.
Oh, I hate them both. But,
at least we could say Taika made like a decent movie with Jojo Rabbit.
Right.
But,
you could go a little farther and say, well, Jojo Rabbit proved that Taika Waititi could make a Superman movie. I mean, that's better than what James Gunn is saying when you ask James Gunn about Superman. And he's comparing Superman to
himself,
the 40-year-old virgin or himself, and saying, "I see Superman in myself."
Like spoken like a true narcissist. Honestly, oh my God.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we did say Bat-Mite. Yeah, that's what the articles are. Bat-Mite is going to be the one that breaks the fourth wall and tells the story.
Zod, I don't know if I remember this correctly, but around the time of the Suicide Squad coming out, and like people were like, you know, rightfully so, hating on it. And they were like, I don't know, I forget what the context was, but they were talking about like how Zack was treated versus how James Gunn was treated, and of course James Gunn jumped in on the conversation. And he literally mentioned Bat-Mite in one of those, like, I think it was a tweet or maybe something on Instagram. And it's like, he had that in the back of his mind all along. Like, I'm just like, he thinks he's so clever, but he's not. He's not. He literally tells you what he is and what he thinks, like, and what he has planned. Like, it's not rocket science when it comes to him.
This comment right here by Showcaz just gave me an epiphany. Thank you, Showcaz. He says, Bat-Mite is from the fifth dimension, the same place as Mr. Mxyzptlk, who can manipulate reality. Both are imps and practical jokers. So Gunn is saying that the DCU is a joke.
Yeah.
Now I want you to think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that for just a moment. The DCU is a joke. The way Showcaz laid this out and pointed this out here in this comment, what have we been saying this entire time about James Gunn? He is not acting like he's CEO of a company. He's not acting like somebody that is head of a studio that's in charge of all these movies, in charge of all this creative. He is acting the exact opposite of how you would expect somebody in that role to act. And now, and then, you know, you had the writer's strike, and now you got the actor's strike, and you got all this stuff that's pushing all these projects back and pushing all this. And we've said it before. There's a very good chance that James Gunn won't get a chance to film anything. The only thing that most likely we'll see would be Creature Commandos. So if you take into account the way that Showcaz laid this out, you know, brilliantly about the character of Bat-Mite and what Bat-Mite actually does and what he has the ability to do, it makes sense that James Gunn's DCU is a joke. It's meant to be a joke. He's not taking it seriously. His slate is like he did it in 10 minutes. He went into ChatGPT and said, "Hey, give me a quick slate for DC, and you know, include some of these obscure characters."
Yeah.
You know,
literally, I could see him doing that.
The Authority. You know, it's like, come on, there's a very good chance that Superman Legacy will never be filmed. But the idea of it, even if it is, the idea of it being a joke and Bat-Mite essentially being the bridge between the two universes, because Bat-Mite can manipulate time, reality, makes perfect sense now. It's a joke. Don't take anything that James Gunn says seriously. Don't take his DCU seriously ever. Even if the movie happens, if any of these movies happen, don't take it seriously, because it's a joke. Especially if we see Bat-Mite in Peacemaker and he starts explaining the difference between the two realities.
Yeah.
You know, this is the
Unbelievable.
That's the best explanation, you know, I've ever seen for James Gunn. But it actually makes sense when you think about it. It actually makes the way James Gunn is acting. It actually makes it make sense. I mean, it doesn't make me any more happy about it, but it does
At
make
least there's some I don't even know. Like, I mean, it makes a little bit more sense, but I still don't get it.
no, but what
You know?
what makes sense about it is the fact that you're not supposed to take it seriously. That's why it makes sense. We're not
Yeah.
supposed to take it
Yeah.
serious. It's a joke. We're supposed to see it as a joke. And as long as we
Right.
see it as a joke, you know, it's going to continue to bother us because we don't want to take it as a joke. But I mean, if we take it as a joke, it's a little bit easier to digest because you're like, okay, this is a joke. It's not meant to be taken seriously. And when you think about it, James Gunn doesn't take anything seriously. The only thing he took to take seriously is his Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I mean, he had people crying over a puppet raccoon in the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie. People, he built up so much drama and emotional
Oh my
tension
God.
over this dying raccoon, had grown people crying over this raccoon.
Unbelievable.
Talking raccoon. Now, if that's the case, I mean, you know what? That's the only way you can write serious dialogue and emotion when you have a dying raccoon.
It says it all. It says it all. Oh my God.
David Ayer talked about this during his interview with John Bernthal and recently with Univision and Telemundo. Yeah, David Ayer. That interview was something. I watched the entire thing.
See, I still have to finish that interview with John Bernthal, but it definitely gave some, I don't know, at least for me, like a little bit more insight, I guess, with his situation. But still, I don't understand the ass kissing of James. I don't get it.
Yeah. There's no.
I don't get it.
Again, he was trying. He thought that maybe that was a path for him, but I think now he sees, based on that
There
interview, that there isn't. That there's no. That the chances that he's going to have to do that joke that Zach said about leaving his cut on a thumb drive in a bathroom somewhere for somebody to find,
Mhm.
and then it gets leaked on the internet. I mean, there's no. He's got no path to legitimately releasing the Ayer cut, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because Gunnocchio is not interested in that. Okay.
Shout out to Osa
And speaking of leaving your thumb drive in the bathroom on a toilet somewhere, we've got Gunnocchio DC equals toilet humor. We're gonna get a Humanzi version of the Justice League.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Charles Austin says he's using Bat-Mite on purpose. He's purposely going to be immature and use Bat-Mite to explain the demise of the DCEU out of spite and hubris. Yeah, and because Bat-Mite can manipulate the realities, I could see that. I could see Bat-Mite being the key to the whole thing at this point.
Yeah, that's so sad to me.
If James Gunn can't respect the portrayal of Vigilante, he can't respect DC characters.
Mm-hmm.
No, of course not.
Yep.
George Clooney is James Gunn's DCU. If it's really a joke, and this will fall in line with what Showcaz was saying, if it turns out that it is a joke and they're going to use Bat-Mite, then they might as well. He might as well have Clooney be Batman. Why not? Why not? Especially Brave and the Bold. Isn't the Brave and the Bold cartoon? Isn't Batman really wacky and goofy in the Brave and the Bold? Isn't that what that cartoon is? He's real goofy and he does a lot of goof. It's kind of reminiscent of, the 1960s Adam West.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah.
And he's real goofy and slapsticky, and there's lots of jokes and
very wacky.
That's the kind of Brave and the Bold, and it all ties together. It's all coming to me now. It all makes sense. When he says Brave and the Bold, he's not talking about Brave and the Bold in the way that we're thinking. He's talking about Brave and the Bold in the way that goofy cartoon is. Where you have Batman being goofy and jumping into big human-sized bowls of soup and trying to escape, corny villains. And I'm almost positive if this is the direction he's going, yeah. And he's probably just lying about the fact that Clooney, because I think he's denied that Clooney is the Batman going forward. I think he already tried to debunk that, but I'm pretty sure he lies about everything. So it's possible that Clooney will be Batman going forward. It's very possible.
Yeah, very.
And but that will help. That will help me accept it more as a joke. That will help me to, come to terms with it, because we know it's not the real DC. It's just another. It's just another variant, and we have the ever positive
Integrity.
and the ever positive and 100% sure, never faltering. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 is inevitable. I don't give a damn what anyone says. Integrity 101. I gotta agree with you. I think it's inevitable. I think we will get it. We may be waiting a while, but I think we will get it. I don't think that they can ever pass that up. The fan demand is so high for it.
It definitely is. And even I've been seeing on Twitter, I think it's been I think it was South Cali guy. He has been posting a lot of videos from different YouTubers, I guess, that have never seen any of Zack's DC movies, so Man of Steel and BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's all been positive. After these people watch the movies and they experience it for themselves, they love it and they want to see more, and they're asking when's the next one? When's that going to happen? So, yeah, it's inevitable. I agree.
Sin Havoc says WBD tried to make everyone believe that Barry Allen ends up in the Clooneyverse, but instead he created a new timeline. And Gunn stated that his Batman will be revealed at the end of The Flash.
It's a joke. It's
all what Batman ended up what Batman did we get at the end of The Flash?
Clooney.
It was George Clooney. So, it's true. This is why we haven't heard anything about any other Batman actors or anything, because there's nothing, because he's already got Clooney set. Clooney is signed for a 10-picture deal like Robert Downey Jr. or something.
Oh God, help us.
It's ridiculous. I would be, I'm telling you, if this happens, I'll be happy, because all this means is that this gives us even more likelihood of the Snyderverse returning, because James Gunn isn't even trying to give us anything serious. He's not trying to compete with Zack. He's trying to make a joke. He's trying to make his comedy Human Z version of DC. That's what he's trying to do. Oh my God. What's up, Bodega Outlaw? Good to see you, man. Netflix seems to be gathering the League, Zack, Godot, Fisher, The Rock, all going there and been successful. So Justice League is a matter of time at Netflix. Yeah. It's like Integrity says, it's inevitable, because you can't, and they all have good working relationships with Netflix.
Yeah.
And where did James Gunn send his brother to protest? Where did James Gunn send his brother to protest?
Netflix for his Gilmore Girl residuals. By the way, my sister, I walked in the other day and she was rewatching Gilmore Girls, because that's her fall show that she always watches. So I walked in, and lo and behold, I see Sean Gunn, and I'm like, I just started bursting out laughing, and I told her what happened, and she was like, I mean, she doesn't care about all this stuff like I do, but like it's just hilarious that this man was like literally just sent out there to like cause like some stupid like drama when he should be taking it up with his freaking brother's boss. Like it's like unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I just can't believe it. It's so funny that you walked in and Sean Gunn just happened to be on screen. You can't make this stuff up. It's insane to me. Like, what does that say to you? What does that say? It says that this show is ordained by God. That's what it says. We are on a mission. We are on the mission from God, not James Gunn.
Nah, not James Gunn. And also he said, and he of course plays a weirdo on that show. Of course. Like a weird person. And I'm just like, this is you can't.
That's all he's able to play. You have to remember, he was sitting in a box getting urinated on by his brother and his friend literally on screen. We watched it. So that's got to mess you up psychologically, whether it's an act or not. That's got to be pretty messy. And so now you're going to go on as an actor and all your roles are going to be wacky.
Oh, yes. Yes. Very.
And Showcast says, actually, another good comparison is the action movie boom of the 80s and died out in the 90s. Yeah, and then they tried to, how they tried to do like the resurgence with like the Expendables and that kind of flatlined. I mean, a new Expendables movie came out and nobody cared. Recently, a brand new one just came out like a week or two ago, and nobody cared. I honestly didn't even know the movie was out.
Me either.
And then I just happened to see somebody did a YouTube video reviewing it or something. I think it was like Tyrone Magnus. He did like a YouTube review, and he came out, he started talking about it, and I was just like, wait, that movie's out? I've seen almost no advertising for it whatsoever. There's been no real, I guess nobody of any real noteworth is in it, so the hype is non-existent. I guess it's, and I thought they said they were going to do an all-female action version of the Expendables at some point, but I guess that never materialized because.
Yeah.
Or maybe it did and nobody cared. Maybe it's come and gone. I don't know.
Maybe it's on Tubi. I don't know.
Yeah. Tubi with Toby. And, speaking of Tubi, I got to ask you something about Tubi. You know what I think is so funny? How does Tubi have all the licenses to all this stuff? If you go on Tubi,
I know.
The vast amount of the library of, you know what it is? It's because the people in charge today don't care about, their catalog titles, classic movies, classic TV shows. They don't care about any of that. So they give it to Tubi for pennies on the dollar. I mean, Tubi's got some pretty high profile stuff, some stuff that was pretty popular for its time back in the day. So I have to ask, how does Tubi afford it?
Yeah, they don't care. It's like that, a couple months ago, I remember sending you or maybe you sent it to me, somebody that was like going through the Warner Brothers warehouses, and they were just throwing away all these old movie posters and like advertisements. I think there was more there too, but they were just like throwing it in the dumpster. Like it was nothing. It says it all.
Well, it's like what my friend Robert Meyer Burnett likes to say. He does a show with this guy Dieter from Germany. They do a show together called Let's Get Physical Media, and they were talking about how physical media is, how a lot of places are kind of seem to be phasing it out, but then companies like Disney is dipping its toe back into physical media and deciding now, because they need money, they want to release stuff like The Mandalorian and Loki and WandaVision and all that stuff, because they know it's going to make them the much needed cash. It's like you can't, if you phase out physical media, you're going to lose money. You're literally leaving money on the table, because people want physical versions of these products, of these films and TV shows, because the streaming services, they could take the stuff away at a moment's notice, and then you lose it, which is why bootleg physical media is on the rise with a lot of these companies that just don't care about their catalog titles. And you know who is one of the worst offenders about not caring about their catalog titles? Warner Brothers. Exactly. They don't care. They don't know. They don't know what they have. They don't know. They don't care. They don't think anything. They don't think anything that didn't come out in the last 10 years that came out that's any older than what came out in the last 10 years is going to make them money, except the obvious stuff. And then there's one division of Warner Brothers that's doing physical media, that's doing it right, and that's Warner Archive. They're a totally separate division of Warner Brothers, and they handle a lot of stuff that regular Warner Brothers doesn't even pay any attention to. It's like you ask Warner Brothers about an old movie, and they'll just look at you. They won't even know if they have it. And Showcast says we have to do it for Mr. Sutton. He was a Marvel fan that went all in with the Snyderverse, so we got to finish the dream to become reality, like Mikey's Dream Walker. Absolutely.
Mikeyverse forever.
Nothing but love to Mikey Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag the cool table. Hashtag Sil Nation. Snyder's take on the DC universe was true cinema and would be unaffected by superhero fatigue.
Agreed,
Exactly.
Martin.
And you know what, Daniel Martin? Martin Scorsese agrees with you as well.
Good old Marty always knows what he's talking about. Yep.
Always knows what he's talking about. And he laid it out very, very well at the beginning of the show.
Oh, yes. Yes, he did.
So we gotta, so thank you to Martin Scorsese for laying out the truth and telling us things that, Warner Brothers forced out of the Esquire article, for sure.
Yep.
They're eating it up.
Jay.
Like it's all you can eat at KFCU. Absolutely, Mr. J. The KFCU is in full effect right now.
Mm-hmm.
Complete and utter trash.
Garbage.
Are you saying James Gunn is delusional? Well, I don't know if he's delusional. I think that he just has other ideas of what he wants to do, which is he wants to make everything a joke, wants to make everything a mockery, doesn't want to take anything seriously. And if you look at his filmography, this is what this guy has always done.
Yeah. Really,
he hasn't changed since he made Human Z. If anything, he's just continued to basically water down that same mentality when it comes to making his movies. Because believe me, if he could throw a scene in his movie with his brother in a box getting peed on by him and a buddy of his, he'd put that in every movie if he could, because that's his sense of humor. That's his guttural toilet humor that he's good at. That's what he likes. And that's fine if that's what you're into, because there's a market for that if that's what you want to do. But DC is not the market for that.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
Guardians of the Galaxy has never reached $1 billion. It's made the same money as Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
More Tobey Maguire and Garfield Spider-Man, please. Yeah, those are movies. Those are movies that are just licenses to print more money.
Agreed.
I don't know. I don't know what the holdup is on those, to be honest with you, especially after the last Spider-Man movie did so well. They're sitting
Yeah,
on
I
that.
don't know.
I don't get that. Like, I mean, what are you? Why are you sitting on that? Those movies should have been fast tracked.
For real. I don't know why. I don't get it.
What's up? We got the bad guy, Mike Worley, in the chat. What's up, Mike? We had a great show earlier this morning, a show that I'm on with a couple other gentlemen in the morning called Nostalgia Power, and we do it at the bad guy Mike Worley's channel really, really early in the morning, where we talk about all kinds of 80s and 90s nostalgia, and it's really, really fun. I'm on there with
Awesome.
PD7 and Jester Tester. It's a really, really great show. If you get a chance to check it out, I think you guys will like it, especially if you're into that, that nostalgic stuff and older content. And the bad guy Mike Worley puts on a good show, hosts a good show, and we're going to be doing that every week. So you guys should check it out. You should subscribe to the bad guy Mike Worley 100%.
Definitely got to check that out.
Definitely. Let's see. The majority of Zack haters are only pretending to be excited for Gunn's garbage. Yeah, Ray, I think you're right. I think this is a great point. APass,
Yeah.
like when, and this kind of dawned on me when that one guy argued with me, saying that he didn't have to go see Blue Beetle, or didn't have to go support Blue Beetle because it was a Hamada burger.
Oh yeah.
When you hear these people using stuff that Snyder fans have used, to justify not supporting certain DC projects, they're turning around and using the same stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not that they support Gunn, because they don't. They're not spending the money. They're not supporting it financially. They're not even really supporting it at all. Actually, they're only fighting people who openly don't support James Gunn. I think if you say anything that anything that may be construed as negative towards James Gunn, they'll come at you. But It's so ironic because they don't support him either. So if you don't support the guy, then how are you justified in coming at other people that don't support the guy, when you guys are losers that don't pay to go see movies? You guys are losers that don't watch anything but trashy movies like Humanzi and the stuff that James Gunn makes. And you only watch that because you can get it off a torrent for free, because you're not paying for it. So what are we talking about here? Why do you want James Gunn in charge of DC?
Their hatred for Zack outrules everything else.
Yeah, I don't get it. Hence the name of our show, because we don't
get it.
Charles Austin says, fun fact, just to give you an idea of Gunn's humor, Kevin Feige had to put a muzzle on Gunn for the first Guardians of the Galaxy film because he wanted to put some cringy, wild stuff in it. Oh, I can believe that.
I believe that.
Not only that, James Gunn didn't write Guardians of the Galaxy. He only directed it. That's why it was so successful, because you had other, like you said, you had Kevin Feige, you had other people in control. So it was successful, and a lot of people enjoyed the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I did.
Oh yeah. I did too. And I remember, it was funny because my parents had gone to see Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. They'd gone to see it together. and they called me about it and said,
Oh.
"You got to see it. You'll like it. It's something I think you'll really enjoy." And I did like it. But what was funny was then the second one came out, and nobody I talked to liked the second one at all. None of us did, and we didn't, and it just wasn't good. But it was funny because Gunn had full control over the second one.
Yep.
That's why the second one was inferior to the first, and the third one was better than the second one. But that's not saying much because the second one was complete dog crap. So
yeah, mm-hmm.
The first one is really the only one you need to see, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
And the bad guy Mike Worley says, "Hey guys, thanks, Zod. Great to work with you." Yeah, hey, bad guy. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to collaborate with people. This is the thing, to do projects and to find new areas to explore, and that's what me and APass are doing on this show, finding lots of new areas to explore and different directions to take things. Let's see. Showcast says, "I was at that live. It was a good talk about Saturday morning cartoons, nostalgia power up." Yeah, it was. We talked a lot about Saturday morning cartoons this morning. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if you have this in like I don't know if this is like a national channel or if it's a local channel. There's like this channel that I have called Me TV, and they like every Saturday they play old Saturday morning cartoons. Like Popeye,
I got Me
Tom and
TV.
Jerry.
Yeah, we've got Me
Oh, you
TV.
do? Okay.
But I don't know if I haven't watched it in a while. But they play old cartoons. That's cool.
Yeah, every Saturday. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
That's
Looney
awesome.
Tunes and Tom and Jerry and Popeye and all that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Something to look into.
Oh yeah.
You could tell the support is fake, given that Blue Beetle is a movie that they should have gotten behind, and look at the box office.
Facts.
We said that. Yeah, we said that. And I tore up Blue Beetle on last week's show because I did not enjoy the film. And I'm sick of people telling me that it was a good movie. I'm still getting people to this day telling me that Blue Beetle was a good movie. And I'm just like, it wasn't a good movie. It was a made-for-TV movie that they threw into theaters to try and make some money off of. That's all. And they didn't make any money. They just embarrassed themselves.
And that's what they'll continue to do because they haven't learned.
He clearly removed the muzzle for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with the weird, disgusting jokes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I never watched it, and I'm glad. I'd rather watch RoboCop 2014 than anything from James Gunn. True. I agree with that. RoboCop 2014, though not anywhere near on the level of what Paul Verhoeven did or Frank Miller, I would say that yeah, I would rather watch RoboCop 2014. I'd rather watch that over the Flash movie and Blue Beetle. Guardians of the Galaxy inflated Whittle Gunny Pooh's fragile ego.
That did. Yep.
Well, it was still considered a success, though, wasn't it? I don't know.
I guess, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely a success, but it wasn't him like writing, directing. Did he produce it? I don't know. If he produced the first one.
Maybe Peter Safran was involved
probably.
in some way.
Definitely.
Because Peter's
buddy.
always there. That's his extraordinary buddy.
Yeah.
And Gunn had Kurt Russell in that film. He wasted a great talent. Yeah,
Oh,
I
of
don't,
course.
I don't know what he was doing in that movie. I still don't understand what the hell was going on with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but it's James Gunn. What do you want? You can't. What do you expect from a pig but a grunt? I mean,
Oh, facts. Yes.
it's 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 the truth. I mean, there's nothing. Blue
Let him
Beetle has
look.
this Disney feel. Yeah, kinda. I can agree with that. It did kind of feel like it belonged on Disney Plus.
Oh my god.
It had
And
that.
that's what they want.
It kind of did. I love that. I love that comparison. It had this Disney feel. Yeah, it really did. Kinda. Yeah. And I think if the movie was made back in 1985, it would have been a success, but not now.
Yeah.
MeTV is great. We used to watch it at work. Some good older movies and shows there.
Oh yeah.
Even they know Legacy will make less money than Man of Steel. Betting WB already planning to pay the critics for the scores. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And what about I can't remember, APass, if you and I talked about the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing or not. I don't remember us talking about
I think we did.
Tomatoes.
I think we did, but we can touch on it again.
But just to kind of touch on it, you can't trust anything that they say.
Oh god.
And now we know that BVS was set up 100% by Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Critic. What's that called? Is it called critic bombing? No, something bombing.
Review bombing.
Thank you. Review bombing. Definitely. That movie was the definition of review bombing. And their freaking critiques were so stupid too.
They weren't even critiques. They're just like one lines.
Yeah.
Horrible movie. Bad movie. Skip this movie. That type of stuff. And it was all being counted.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was really didn't his shills try to give James Gunn props for Brightburn? Oh yeah. Of course. Of course.
Oh my god.
And I still don't know what to make of Brightburn, because for a while people were saying, "Oh, Brightburn is a love letter to Man of Steel."
I remember that.
Really?
And I never thought that. Never thought that.
Yeah, it's a love letter to Man of Steel. Okay. F. James Gunn, let's be real. He raises every red flag there is in Hollywood, and his movies aren't even good. They suck.
Couldn't agree more.
But Gunny Poo wrote Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. Yeah, and the script was rewritten by another writer.
Which is hilarious.
Blue Beetle was a good streaming movie. Yeah. A Disney streaming movie. It should be on Disney Plus. I'm convinced. Oh my God, that's what was missing. That's what was so wrong. It should have had the Disney logo at the beginning of the movie, and it would have been way better.
Oh my God.
Wow. I
totally
agree. I totally agree. It gave me Disney Plus vibes, similar to Moon Knight. Oh my God. Yeah. Yes, Showcast. Kurt Russell is great talent. I love him in the John Carpenter movies. Yeah, John Carpenter, another master of cinema, another auteur. Guardians 3 has tons of massive shots with a ton going on, and went ahead and never let the scenes breathe. This led to an ADHD fart joke clip show instead of a movie. Yeah. But once again, what do we expect from James Gunn? It's James Gunn, guys. That's what it is. It's James Gunn. I mean, oh my God. So Ahsoka just ended.
I gotta say, I haven't seen the finale yet.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
But no, I want you to talk about it. I don't care. I've already seen spoilers, so go ahead and talk about it.
well, I figured that's one that we can, we can hold. You know what? I'll be brief about Ahsoka.
Okay.
I consider the entire project overall to be disappointing.
Yeah. So far, I mean, like I didn't even see the finale yet, but
The
so
best
far I agree.
episode was the episode 5 with Anakin
Agreed.
that they put in theaters. That was the best episode, but even that episode, I mean, I don't know. I'm not. I wasn't happy with the way that they ended it, to be honest, and I expected more. And I have to say, I unsubscribed from a lot of Star Wars YouTubers as of after the finale, because so many of those Star Wars YouTubers were like, "Huh, Luke Skywalker, he's coming back. He's going to be in the finale. Luke is in there." One of these YouTubers even went as far to have Luke on the thumbnail and put in the caption, special preview of Ahsoka finale. Luke Skywalker returns.
Oh my God.
And we're talking about some pretty big Star Wars YouTubers, some pretty big names. And they were all on the Luke Skywalker hype train. They were all 100% sure that Luke was coming back. And I was just like, really? Okay. Well, I said on one of them, I said at the bottom of one, I'm like, I'll bet you $1 that we don't see Luke, but I bet you Anakin makes one more appearance in the finale. We're not, but I'm telling you right now, we're not going to see Luke. Luke is not coming. I don't know where you're getting this Luke Skywalker stuff from, because there's no way that he's coming back for at the end of Ahsoka. And this one guy kept using the season 2 finale of Mandalorian, when Luke came out and surprised everybody. They were trying to make it seem like that was what was going to happen with Ahsoka, where Luke was going to come to the rescue, or Luke was going to pop up at some point. And I'm just like, they hate Luke Skywalker right now at Lucasfilm. They've made it very, very clear about how they feel about Jake. All right. So what makes you think that they're going to bring him out in Ahsoka when they're clearly trying to push forth the narrative and build upon these new characters? They want it to be a more female-centric, more female-led program. They're giving you Ahsoka, Sabine, and they're making Ezra. They basically nerfed Ezra. They made Ezra into a complete wimp. APass. What I don't understand, okay, and I don't know what episode you finished off on, but you saw Ezra, right?
Yeah, I did the one before the finale.
Okay, so you saw how Ezra, when he was fighting, he was using the Force, but he didn't have a lightsaber.
Yeah,
and he was kind of. And what I don't understand is, in the finale, there's a lot of scenes where Ezra is fighting, and Ezra's getting knocked down. He's getting tossed all over the place. And what I don't understand is, he was using the Force in the previous episode constantly, making it seem like, oh, I don't need a lightsaber. And he was just using the Force to fight. But if you watch the finale, you're going to notice he doesn't really use the Force to fight. Ezra doesn't use the Force to fight at all in the finale. He's basically getting tossed around and nerfed so that Ahsoka and Sabine can look better, and he can they can save him. Basically, it's like he forgot all of the Force powers that he had in the previous episode, in the finale, and he didn't know how to use the Force at all. And I don't know why nobody's talking about this, but nobody's talking about the fact that they basically neutered Ezra. Okay, they showed that he was powerful in the previous episode, and then they neutered him in the finale for no reason, just so that, I guess, so that Sabine and Ahsoka wouldn't lose the spotlight to Ezra. That's the only thing I could think of, and it was so stupid to me. Even when Ezra finally did use a lightsaber, he constructed a new new lightsaber. But everything he did, he was clumsy and a buffoon. And Sabine looked like Luke Skywalker in the finale. Sabine was all over the place. Sabine was using the Force. Sabine was picking up lightsabers that were. And remember when they first showed Sabine, and she was trying to learn the Force. She couldn't even move a cup.
Right.
But in the finale, all of a sudden she somehow has the power to reach and grab lightsabers. She has the power to use the Force. They basically turned her into Rey all over again. And I was like, what are we looking at here? What is going on?
Bad storytelling.
Writing, bad storytelling. I'm telling you right now. And so for all the people out there saying, but ZodWriter, it was good. It was a good finale. It was a good series. How can you say that? It was one of the most inconsistent. It was inconsistent with its own canon. Like, I don't understand. Like, it just showed us the previous week how powerful Ezra was.
So ridiculous.
And then the finale made him like, he was almost like a damsel in distress. Ezra. I mean, he was terrible. Like, he couldn't defend himself. He was a horrible fighter. I don't get it.
Wow. See, that making male characters so absurdly like weak doesn't make the female characters powerful in my eyes. Like, if you really want to have that like female empowerment, do it in a genuine way and like good storytelling. Don't like water down the male characters because you're trying to push some agenda. Like,
this is why we'll never see Luke Skywalker again.
Yeah.
Because they know how popular Luke Skywalker is. And if you bring in Luke Skywalker is way more powerful than all these other new Jedi that they want you to focus on. They want to make Ahsoka seem like she's more powerful than Anakin. They want to make Sabine like the new Rey, I guess. And it doesn't make any sense. Like you said, these characters should all complement each other. Male, female, it doesn't matter. You can make the characters powerful based on what their actual abilities are. I didn't want to see a neutered Ezra. You might as well have not even brought Ezra back for the way that they used him. When you watch the finale and you see I don't want to spoil it for you. When you see what they finally did with Ezra, how they what his conclusion was with Ezra, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like, what are we doing here? You want to show me how powerful Ahsoka is, and you want to show me how powerful Sabine is. That's fine, but you can also show me that without having to water down Ezra, without having to make Ezra seem lesser because of. And I'm not even an Ezra fan. I just was mad at them because of the way that they showed Ezra being all powerful in the previous episode, and then the next episode they completely forgot about that. He might as well have had no force powers whatsoever. And Sabine too. We know for a fact Sabine did not have all of these powers. Sabine couldn't even move a cup. Just two episodes.
Sabine should have been dead from being stabbed in the freaking abdomen in the
Yeah,
first from the
well,
first episode.
that's another plot hole that doesn't make any sense. She literally got impaled. I would have
Like,
I would have respected them more if they would have killed her off right then, because at least then you're giving her character a little bit of depth. You're showing that, hey, getting impaled by a lightsaber means something. But at this point, it's practically an institution with Star Wars now in this new Disney stuff, that somebody has to get impaled with a lightsaber
and
in
survive.
every show and survive. And we're seeing it over and over again now. I mean, I think what's her name? I think what was her name? Reva in the Obi-Wan show. I think she got impaled like twice and survived both times.
She did. That's
Or three times. I don't understand this. I don't understand what you're trying to say. So you don't got to make all your female characters indestructible, superhuman that can never be killed off. You can show that they're powerful. You can show that they're badass without overdoing it. And that's what they're doing. They feel like they have to overdo it. But with Ezra, I was done. When I saw what they did, how they did Ezra, I was like, you know what? There's no hope for this. This is the direction they're going. And like I said, they made, all of a sudden, Sabine was this badass Jedi by the end of it. Like, how? That doesn't make any sense. Sabine did not show any of that. She wasn't even really all that in, like, what are we talking about? Sabine's not like that. Okay, whatever. She's using the Force, but she's still new at using the Force. You want to give me credibility? Want to give it credibility? Start showing her abilities in the next season. Okay, don't have her struggling to move a cup, and then because it's the last episode, all of a sudden she's moving around like she's Yoda. Doesn't make any sense.
She's Yoda.
I'm out. Like I'm out. I'm done.
Sabine is Yoda. She's Yoda level Jedi.
Yoda level.
Sense.
Yoda level Jedi. Yeah, Ezra's a galoot. Yeah, that's how he was. He was a galoot. And Darth Plato says correct. Luke would overshadow everyone else, which is why Ahsoka will replace Luke in future Star Wars projects. And did you hear, Darth Plato, that Hasbro allegedly refused to make toys for the Ahsoka TV series because they don't think they'll sell?
Funny that. Isn't that funny? Oh
I'm right there with them. I don't think they'll sell either. It's ridiculous. What are you? You're not gonna. Wow. When are they going to learn that it's very similar? I'm noticing a very similar pattern with Star Wars and DC.
Oh yeah.
Do you notice how DC wants to move, is doing everything that they can, throwing everything in the kitchen sink at everything that is good and that people want to see more of, and doing their best to move further and further away from it, even though nobody's into it. It's not what anybody wants. They're doing the same thing with this. And this is where I'm at. Ahsoka could have been a great series. I love Ahsoka as a character. I think Rosario Dawson is a great actress. I don't have a problem with Ahsoka as a character. I don't even have a problem with Sabine and Hera and all that. I don't have a problem with none of the Rebels characters, none of them. My problem is these idiot writers that don't know what they're doing. And I'm looking at baloney Filoni. I'm sick and tired of it. He's not, he doesn't know what he's doing. And he's supposed to be the guy who was handpicked by George Lucas to carry the torch and continue to tell the story. Doesn't make sense to me. Filoni looks like he's just another one of those types that is writing agenda first, story, whatever.
He's a Lucasfilm stooge. It's such a disappointment, because it's like he was picked by George Lucas to carry on certain stories and things like that. And the other thing is, he's like from the same, like not the same area as me, but like literally like his hometown is like, I want to say 45 minutes away from where I live. So he's like a Pittsburgh boy. So like I was like behind him. I was like, yes, he's from my city, and he's also like taking over Star Wars. And then seeing what he's done is very disheartening. And it's very like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what are you doing? Like,
I keep asking myself, where's Jon Favreau during all this? I guess
yeah, where is he?
I guess Jon Favreau really. I guess the rumors that Jon Favreau completely checked out, I guess, are true, because you could tell he had no input over any of this, of it, because it was so much better when he was writing and he was doing this stuff. Mandalorian, it was like night and day compared to this. You know, the first couple of seasons of Mandalorian, anyway. Showcast says, my problem with Filoni stuff is his characters have outlived the main characters from the prequels, and none of them have aged either.
Yeah, there's so many inconsistencies.
The sequel trilogy showed us the future of the franchise.
Facts,
yeah. All roads are leading to the sequel trilogy. That's another thing I don't understand. People that keep saying, "Oh, well, you know what? You know, Filoni, he's retconning the sequel trilogy. He's taking Star Wars into another direction." Not if you look at this storyline. Not if you look at the way things are going here. It doesn't look like he's moving anything.
Yeah. I still can't get over whenever you and I were talking, the last time we talked about Ahsoka, like texting each other, and you were like, "Did you see the Ninja Turtle?"
Oh, yeah.
Island yet?
The biblical Ninja Turtles.
The biblical village of Ninja Turtles. And when I watched it, I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, that's so accurate. Like, what are we doing here? There's like the new Ewoks.
They're supposed to see, because they want desperately to try to create another cute something that they could cash in on, like the Ewoks or Grogu, you know, something that they can like, you can market huge. Yeah, that's what it is. And it's like, those turtles are not going to do it. Those turtles are not going to do it. You can give them lightsabers. I'm surprised they didn't give them lightsabers and have them start fighting. Like,
dude, if they did that, I would have been on the floor. I would have checked out. Done.
How about the Star Destroyer bombardment? If Ahsoka and Sabine were in all quiet on the Western Front, the war would have been over in a day.
Facts.
Bo-Katan should be as old as Obi-Wan was in A New Hope by now. Yep. At least Sabine has a backstory history. Rey has no history backstory. Yeah. But again, I don't have a problem with Sabine as a character. I just don't like the way that they're writing Sabine now, because it doesn't make any sense. They established at the beginning of Ahsoka that she was not really keeping up with her training. She was not really doing anything. So to make her all of a sudden at the end of Ahsoka suddenly have the ability to do all these things it takes me out of the story.
Yeah.
What they should have done, if their plan was to make Sabine into Yoda at the end of the season, was show that Sabine had progressed at the beginning of season 1. It's simple writing, simple storytelling. Show me at the beginning that Sabine is already progressing, that she's learning, she's practicing, she's has the ability to do all these things. Don't show me for all these episodes that she has virtually no force ability whatsoever, and then all of a sudden at the end of the season she's able to do all this crazy stuff. No, that's my problem. It's not about Sabine as a character. It's not about her backstory. It's not about any of that. It's about the way it's being written right now is just so terrible. It's like they're not giving any thought to it. They don't care about the continuity from episode to episode that they established. This isn't something that This isn't like you're going back, 20 years in Legends lore and you're digging up some. No, this is stuff that Filoni created. These are his characters. So he didn't know that, oh, I gave Ezra he had all these powers and he was using all these force powers. And then in the last episode, I'm going to nerf him just so that Ahsoka and Sabine can be the heroes. I don't understand that mentality. That's why I can't take anybody seriously that comes to me and tells me that Ahsoka was a good show. Okay.
Yeah.
I can understand that there's things in there that people liked about it, that there's some good, because there was some good stuff. I'm not going to say it was all bad, but I'm saying from a writing perspective, it didn't make sense. And if you can't make it make sense, how am I supposed to be on board? I don't think I'm asking for too much to just have continuity between the episodes to make it make sense. That's all I want. Make it make sense.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask, it's Star Wars, still, but what was what's your opinion on the prequels? Like whenever they came out and then like now?
I don't have any problem with the prequels. I don't
either.
I'm a fan of the prequels. I supported the prequels. I was not one of those people that went off and was crapping on the prequels. I loved the prequels. I didn't have a problem. But see, I loved the original trilogy too. Yeah. And the prequels I enjoyed as well. I did not hate the prequels. I didn't have, I took the prequels as being, a different thing, a different time in Star Wars mythology, they've since gone on to, pad that out, give us more with the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that. And it's hard for me and that's why APass, it's hard for me to reconcile when you got the guy that was responsible for a lot of the Clone Wars stuff and Rebels and all that, now writing this live action Ahsoka show haphazardly. That's the thing I don't understand. It's hard for me to believe it's even the same guy at this point, because it's so different. Like if you go back and particularly if you watch the last season of Clone Wars, the writing is brilliant. And it all makes sense. It's all thematically, it's all structured the right way. It gives you some brilliant storylines and some stuff to think about. And then, you get to Ahsoka, and I don't know what changed between live action cartoons and live action, but I mean,
I think I have an idea. I think it's Disney. I think it's Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know. It seems like I'm wondering how different things will be when she's gone. Will it still be the same way of doing things, or will it change? Will it be more will there be I guess better storytelling for this franchise? I don't know.
I don't know. And Qatar, only Qui-Gon died of a lightsaber stab. Yeah. Poor Qui-Gon's gotta be pretty ticked off up there in the ether. What is this? How is this even possible? Why did I die?
Wait, did you see Liam Neeson's quote recently talking about Star Wars?
No.
He said that basically, oh god, what was the second part? The first part was he thought that the Star Wars fans are in a cult, and the second part was something along the lines of Disney is killing the brand, which I agree with that second part.
Yeah. There's a lot that can be said about that. I have to agree, because I'm not, and again, it's nothing against the characters. I like the characters, which is why I'm so upset about the way it was handled in Ahsoka. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Ahsoka be a badass, and I don't mind Sabine learning the Force and eventually becoming a great Jedi warrior or Mandalorian Jedi warrior or whatever she's going to be. But you got to give us progression, and you got to make it make sense. You can't just rush to it just because now we're at the end of the season, and you just want to show something cool. You can't just have it be like that, because we know that's not how the Force works. We already know. They've already established that that's not how it works. So Grogu says she's no Yoda. We don't claim her. I think Qui-Gon had an allergic reaction to lightsabers as opposed to the stab itself killing. You know what, Dan, I'm beginning to agree with you, and I'm kind of hoping that something like that is introduced into canon, because
they have to make it make sense.
You got to make it make sense. If you can't make it make sense, it's pretty much a moot point. So I don't want Maul got cut in half. Yeah, and how many times did they bring Maul back in the cartoons? Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie.
It's definitely one of my favorite Star Wars.
Definitely
movies.
My favorite one of the prequels.
Yeah.
Okay, so Favreau wasn't interested in linking to the sequels. That's why he left when it became obvious they were pushing that direction. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, because Favreau was going to be the guy that was going to move us away from
the
sequel trilogy, and was going to make it make sense how the world between worlds was going to be the key to us not being a part of that anymore. But
wow.
But wow. I don't get it.
I don't
get it. But you know what? On that note, I think we're about to wrap it up, unless there's anything that you think, APass, you think we might have missed.
That we might have missed.
There probably is. We probably did, because we always
do. I feel like we always do, but we go in depth with what we do talk about. So I guess we could talk about the next I don't get it.
Oh yeah. We've got something planned for y'all coming up on the 21st of the month, which is our very first. I guess what we'll do. I'll play something here for everybody to kind of give you a little preview of what our next I don't get it is going to be here. Let me see if I got something. Let's go here.
I did write a book. It's like I've been in a dream where I was somehow really invested in the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. But what you said broke me out of it. Really? Yeah. You're back. She's back.
That's right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, on the 21st, APass and I are going to be doing the first ever I Don't Get It watch party of the movie Barbie by Greta Gerwig. That's right. And the key is, the game we're going to play is, every time they use the word patriarchy, you take a drink.
Yep.
And we're going to see how pickled everybody can get by the end of that movie.
I think by the end of it, I'll be on the floor.
Yeah. We'll see if we're, so we'll be starting that one a little bit earlier than we usually go. And that way everybody can participate, but it should be a fun thing. We do have, Greta. We do have a little material here from before we go. We do have a little material from Greta. We had a little bit of get a little bit of an interview here with Greta. I just want to find all the Greta material here. Here we go. Wait a minute. I think here we go. Wait. Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
Greta, can you explain your issues with APass and ZodWriter? You seem to be irritated with them.
People like APass and ZodWriter are symptoms of larger societal problems. I set out to make a movie with lots of inverted, twisted, warped, agenda-driven messaging disguised as a rolled-up rallying cry for third-wave feminism. Those two card-carrying members of the Patriarchy Supporters Club have no idea the damages they are causing. No wonder they don't get it. Troublemakers always think they are the heroes. Sure, dissecting Barbie disrespectfully and condescendingly was likely a therapy session for them. How many times did ZodWriter harp on that Snyder cut thingy in their most recent live stream? They clearly did not understand the movie, but at least they both appeared to realize I'm not responsible for Toby's Snyder cut joke. APass gave me some praise, and I can be thankful for that somewhat.
In all fairness, Greta, APass and ZodWriter gave a rather balanced review of Barbie and discussed it rationally and intelligently. Don't you think that using words like condescending and disrespectful with regards to their discussion is an overly harsh position to take?
Honestly, no, they both came off as psychologically butthurt over not getting it. Barbie speaks for itself, and while I'm not opposed to people having healthy discussions or asking questions, APass's critiques were ridiculous and nonsensical. ZodWriter is a dude driven by his masculinity and extreme levels of testosterone who can't ever be expected to understand. Not having a vagina is a real problem for many male viewers. The male-female dynamic of their show emphasizes the messaging in my movie. In many ways, as I tried to tell you before, they are a microcosm of what's wrong with society as a whole. Maybe it's because APass never liked playing with Barbie dolls. Maybe it's because ZodWriter is a man. In both cases, those two wayward individuals are not my target audience. They think Oppenheimer is a better movie than mine with all its blatant sexism, womanizing, and rampant nudity. ZodWriter and APass are literally made for each other in this environment. They are two sides of the same corrupt, toxic, misguided coin. I really have nothing more to say about those two, but I appreciate the interview. I gotta go, though. I'm totally meeting Margot Robbie for cocktails in less than an hour.
So there you have it. That's what Greta Gerwig thinks about APass and ZodWriter. I don't get it. You know, we were pretty fair to the Barbie movie, and now
Yes, we were.
we're going to really dive in on the 21st when we have our Barbie watch party. I cannot wait. I am excited about
either.
that. That is going to be a very special show, and I think, and you know, you can get a copy of it digitally on Amazon. You can rent it or buy it. It's on other sites too, like Vudu, iTunes, and all that digitally. I don't think it's available physically yet, but you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
digital is good enough for the purposes of what we're doing. So you guys should. I think you guys will enjoy that. That's something new that we're going to do here. But she's definitely got a problem with us. Yeah, she's not. She doesn't like us. She doesn't like us. Oppenheimer is much better. Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah, it definitely is. With all its
Ready, Pooh?
rampant sex and nudity. Scorched earth. Yeah, it's definitely boy, she's got a wild hair up her ass about the two of you. Good job, ZodWriter and APass. Yeah, Greta Gerwig. Greta doesn't like us. I don't know.
She despises us.
Yeah, she despises us, and we're gonna, and we've even got, but we did get her to do, we did get the AI version of Greta to do a little introduction for us for next week's show. So we'll definitely go there. Not next week, but the following week.
Yeah.
We're back to our regular schedule of every other week. So the following week, which is the 21st, will be when we'll be doing the watch party. So yeah. So we wanted to announce that, for those that follow this channel, you probably saw, because I did put it up, post about it a couple of days ago on the channel. Yeah. So it is up there for you to see when it's happening. But that's going to be our first watch party. And then and then the next thing that we do after that will be a regular show. And then, so we'll probably try to, because we do have plans for some other watch parties too. So there's going to be a lot of that coming up. So definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Definitely. So is there anything else, APass, you wanted before we wrap it up?
No, I think that was it. Thank you guys for tuning in as always, and participating in our conversation, because I always, that's like one of my favorite parts of doing this, is interacting with everybody. So thank you, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Absolutely. And guys, so definitely join us for the I Don't Get It watch party on the 21st. It's a little ways to go yet, but you guys, I think you guys will enjoy it. And definitely, if you guys want to see me again, you'll see me again next Saturday on the Bad Guy Mike Worley's channel for the second episode of Nostalgia Power. So definitely check that out, as it's a new thing and it's cool. And Brogu, great to have you here. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. You guys are all great. You guys are all wonderful. And this, I agree with APass. This is one of the best parts of the show. Good night, everybody.
Night.